Yo, what is up? You may have heard about this tank, the IS-3A, the latest version of the Soviet heavy tanks. This one has an auto reloader that actually reloads quicker the faster you shoot it. The first reload is like under 10 seconds. The second reload is like under 11-12 seconds, and the third reload, the third shell is about 15 seconds. Now the reason why this thing is causing a lot of angst amongst all the community contributors, you might have seen all the videos that's coming out. A lot of people are have their hair on fire at the moment because of the way the mechanics are working on this tank. Now theoretically it is not that great of a tank in terms of armor, because the armor is just the same as a regular IS-3. The gun isn't great at all because the accuracy isn't that great. The dispersion values, in fact, is worse than an IS-3, is worse than an it's worse than a Defender. Even the moving dispersions, the mobility is a lot worse than IS-3, and it's a lot worse than a Defender. It's really slow. If you can't get to the positions that you want to do the damage, you can't really do it. Now in this game, in Al Haluf, I am taking up the standard positions. This is where all the heavy tanks go. You either go here or you go to the one line. Now basically I want to get into the inside of this corner if I could, but I can't, so I'm taking the outside. Now what's wrong with this tank is actually the auto reloading mechanism, that is the mechanics of the way they implement the auto reloader. Unlike the Progetto, the Italian tanks, where you need to be careful, need to think about how to use your shells. You need to save your shells. You want to play it like a two-shotter, you want to play it like a one-shotter, because you only want to save that burst damage for when you want to kill your enemies. You want to use all three shells. But in the IS-3A it's different. In the IS-3A it encourages you to use up all your shells as quickly as possible, and then you have a fourth shell. I know there's only 3 shells in the magazine here, like I have right now, but what it encourages, I've just tracked him once, he repaired, tracked him again. So basically this was a good trade for me. I took 600 damage from the T30, losing 600 plus damage, but I managed to land all 3 on him, 1100 plus damage, and basically that was a good trade for me. And when I say this is a 4-shotter, this is a 4-shot auto reload tank, is because you fire after you clear up all your 3 shots, all you need to do is wait for another 9-10 seconds for your 4th shell, because it reloads the quickest in your first shell. So basically you can think of this as like a 4-shell tank. So basically it is an auto reloader that you can play as a one-shotter. So play it like a one-shot tank, but if you have extra shells, fire it anyway. So there is no downside playing this auto reloading mechanic. You don't need to think about saving your shells, timing your shells, making the most out of your reload times. You don't need to think about that. If you can shoot 2 shells, you shoot 2 shells. If you can shoot all 3, you shoot all 3. And that's what you do with this tank. I got the inside of his track, of his outside track, but I couldn't damage him on the second shot. I just hit the tracks there on the second shot without any damage. It tracked him, but it means I couldn't do any more damage on my third shot, so I just left him as it was. Now I'm not doing anything special here, no skill at all. I just came to this position. This is where you would normally go in a medium tank, optional in a heavy tank if you want to. I am in a tier 8, this is a tier 9 matchup, so I'm not trying to be a hero. I want to maximize my damage output, so I'm just trying to be as safe as possible. Now the only downside to this tank, it's the mobility. It's really slow to get where you want it to go. So if you commit to one flank or you commit to one position, that's basically where you're gonna win or you're gonna die. So you can't really move around chasing people around, flanking people. I'm gonna see if I can clip this guy. Oh, my team has clipped him. Now let's see if I can. I got a tracking damage, but he's angled there and this guy's blocking me, so I'm just gonna pull back and reload while I continue talking about this tank. Power to weight ratio is 10.55, which is worse than the Defender, worse than the IS-3. And in terms of the traverse and I suppose the soft stats, then anything to do with mobility is just bad. Anything to do with gun handling is also bad. This thing, like I said, the dispersions are bad, when you turn is bad, your aim time is, well, the aim time is fairly good, better than the Defender and IS-3, but the accuracy is terrible. You need to be like medium distances and close distances. You can't be firing from far distances. You shoot the dirt like here, you know, it just doesn't work. And the great thing about this tank, another thing, was the standard APCR shells. For your standard shells are APCR with 1400 meters per second velocity, which makes this like super good. It's as soon as you click, you are instantly hitting it. You're either hitting it or you're not hitting it. You know what I mean? Your shell gets there instantly quick. It's a lot faster than the Defender, which is 1000, and IS-3 is also 1007. But if you're going to shoot the the premium shells, which is heat, then your velocity is going to go down a little bit. It's going to be 820, more like the usual heat rounds. You don't really need these heat rounds unless you are in a tier 10 matchup, if you're fighting something frontally. But I did shoot some Mausins and VKs. I didn't have any problem penning them with my standard APCR shells. Here you go. I run out of shells, but I'm not worried at all because the reload is going to be fine. I'm going to shoot him back off, and I'm going to have enough time to back up far enough to have a good enough reload time to come back and have a second bite at the cherry with this guy. Yes, I managed to land him, but he still gets me, but he can't kill me. So in the end, he gets finished off. This game is almost over. There's just 2 more artillery pieces left. I know where one is, so I'm going to go after him. The other one is a bit too far for me to chase, so I'm just going to go after this GW Panther. And the game is already over, and I've done over 4000 damage, I guess. And why this thing is considered overpowered, and a lot of streamers and big YouTubers have come out and completely shown their disgust over this tank. Believe you and me, a shitstorm is brewing. A lot of people are going to have their hair on fire because of this tank, and it's not because of the armor. It's not because of this. The gun is super duper accurate, super duper turbo good. No, it's not. It's because of this auto reloading mechanic, which is encouraging you to keep firing. The more you fire, the better. So just keep pushing forward, keep firing. This thing is basically idiot proof. And the worst part of it all, not just the auto reloading mechanic, is you can only get it in the loot boxes, which is really pissing people off right now, because there's no guarantee that you can buy it in any kind of sale or any kind of other event in the future, because Wargaming has not said anything about it. I'm fully aimed here. I shoot him, and that's, you see what I mean? This gun is not great. It's not great. I get one shot at him, but he manages to fire and finish me off. And I'm going to just forward this because I'm dead. So the only way you can get this is buy those loot boxes, and they are giving us community contributors to play with this tank, promote the shit out of this tank, show you how good and OP and broken this tank is, so that you will spend your money on buying 100 loot boxes to try and get this tank, or have an opportunity to try and get this tank. You might not get it, no matter how many loot boxes you buy. But this tank is really good, and they really need to fix something. I don't know what the winning formula is, but it's something they need to fix. They need to fix how these loot boxes go, and they need to fix how this auto reloading mechanic goes. Thanks for watching, man. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.